morning to everyone. In the last session, we focused on object synchronization. How thread objects are going to be synchronized. For that, we have used the keyword synchronized. We need to define a synchronized block. The synchronized block takes the general form synchronized, then specify the object, and within that opening and closing curly braces of the synchronized block, we try to call the multi-threaded activities. When a thread enters into the synchronized region, no other child thread is allowed to enter into that region, so that one child thread's activity should be completed first, and then the next child thread enters into the synchronized block to complete its execution. Next, let us see the priorities of the thread. A thread can set some priorities: min priority, max priority, and norm priority, minimum, maximum, and normal priority. The priorities are defined as some constants in the thread class. So let us explore the thread class. The thread class, we find some of the constants which are defined as static variable, static int, max priority. Max priority, this is the constant field which assumes the value right at 10. So the maximum priority that a thread can have is set as 10. Minimum priority, right, defined as static as well as integer variables. Minimum priority of a thread can assume this field value. Minimum priority is set to 1. And a normal priority, the default priority of every thread, even the main thread or child thread. All threads are assuming the default priority of 5. If you want to check the constant value, we give here you can find max priority. Yeah, here max priority, min priority, and norm priority. Public static final int min priority. The constant min underscore priority is defined like this. You try to click this one, constant field values. Clicking this, you can find here max priority, the value set as 10, min priority value set as 1, norm priority, the default value set as 5. In between 1 and 10, we can set the priority of a thread. In case to set a priority of a thread, you need to use set priority method. Set priority method is defined in the thread class. Thread set priority. The set priority, the type signature is this one, void set priority, enter new priority. The default priority is assumed to be 5 for all the threads. In case if you want to set a new priority, right, the new priority should lie in between 1 and 10. This changes the priority value to the defined integer. To check or extract the current priority of a thread, you can call this method type signature int get priority. Suppose object 1 dot get priority, that retrieves the priority of the thread, say object 1. If the priority has not set, then get priority method returns the normal priority value 5. Let us verify this set priority and get priority with an example. Consider this class A extends thread, public void run. Inside this A given the message, inside runs method of class B. Then class B is defined similarly in inside runs method of class B. Okay, run method of class B. Then in class C, public void run inside runs method of a class C. Then coming to the main method, we are trying to create three child objects, say A1, B1, and C1, to the respective classes A, B, C. We are extracting the current priority of the child threads A1, B1, and C1. So A1's thread priority is extracted using this method. A1 dot get priority. B1 priority is obtained. B1 dot get priority, C1 dot get priority. Since we didn't set the priority for the child threads A1, B1, C1, currently by default the norm priority 5 is set to the child threads. Then we are setting the priority value, say 8 to the child thread A1, and child thread B1 is setting a priority 5, and child thread C1 sets a priority to 2. In case if you try to set a priority value other than this integer in between 1 and 10, what will happen is the argument to specify to the method is illegal one. So illegal argument exception, right? This exception is raised. Let us check. Class name is say thread priority. Java C thread priority dot Java. Java thread priority. A sequential execution. The statement is placed here, but anyhow, before that, right, some statements are there. A1, B1, C1's priority are assigned, and the new priority has been set. So after printing the priorities of A1, B1, C1, as read all these 5, then the statement A1 dot set priority of 21, this results in illegal argument exception, because the argument specified to the method set priority doesn't lie in the range of 1 and 10. There is a problem. Set priority java.lang.thread. Set priority, that is this is the rule of default exception handler. Default exception handler terminated the program execution. Java colon 41, 41 which indicates that the line number at which the runtime error is reported. So this is one real situation where we have the chance of raising illegal argument exception. Okay, after setting the new priority, say 852, we are calling the methods. We are calling the methods here get priority to the child objects A1, B1, C1, and we need to expect the new priority or the current priority of the child objects A1, B1, C1 are 852. Initially A1, B1, C1 assumes 5. After setting the new priority, A1's thread priority is 5, A1 is 8, B1 is 5, and C1 is 2. Then if you want to get the name of your thread, right? The thread system.out.print thread.current_thread.getName retrieves the name of the thread. Name of the thread is here main thread. Main, right? That is the name of the thread. Main. Then the thread priority is printed. Main thread. Main is just the name of the thread here. Then we print this message main thread priority. For that we set the main thread priority thread dot current thread dot set priority, because this line is placed inside the main method. So here main, which defines the name of the thread. For the main thread, the new priority value 10 is going to be set. Then the value of main thread priority is extracted, thread dot current thread dot get priority. Get priority here which retrieves a value 10. So here you can see main thread priority is 10. Before that the main thread priority is 5. Here this one thread dot current thread dot get main. Then a main thread priority is extracted. By default main thread priority is 5. After setting the value to 10, main thread priority is changed to 10. Then these lines with respect to the object, whichever is A1, B1 or C1, you can find right the constant values. What is actually pointed in or defined in max underscore priority, min underscore priority, norm underscore priority. We are printing the maximum thread priority, right? A1 dot max priority, A1 dot max priority returns a value 10. Then A1 dot min priority returns a value 1. Then A1 dot norm priority returns a value 5. So this means min underscore priority, max underscore priority, norm underscore priority. These are the priority fields defined in the thread class. Having any queries in this example? Setting the priority of a thread and getting the priority of a thread.
So what is actually setting the priority, sir? Will that be
Yeah, the purpose of setting a priority, right? That is a good question. To answer this question, right? Shall we check the call of the run method? To answer your question, let us check, right, in what way the run method is going to be called. For example, here inside the run method, let us try to have a for statement. For int I is equal to 0, I less than 10, or I less than 100, whichever is okay. I plus plus system dot out dot println inside runs method of class A plus value of I is printed. Likewise in method fields run for int j is equal to 0, j is equal to 100, j less than 1000, j plus is equal to 100. Having the statement inside runs method of class B plus j. Then inside runs C, say for int k is equal to 1000, k less than 10,000, k plus is equal to 1000. Having the statement inside runs method of class C, just print the value of k. Assuming here, right, inside the main method, the child thread objects A1, B1, C1 are created. Then the priority is printed here. Here let us have the method call. How to call this run method? You can directly call right A1 dot start. If not, you can provide A1 dot run. Whichever is A1 dot start, B1 dot start, C1 dot start. Let us have a statement here. system dot out dot println calling run methods using v1, v1 and c1. Assuming that the priority has been set like this, say A1's priority is 8, B1's priority is 5, C1's priority is 2, and the updated priority values are printed here. Following this, let us have println statement system dot out dot println priorities of child threads are updated, and system dot out dot println same statement, calling run methods using A1, B1 and C1. Then let us call A1 dot start, same statements, okay, B1 dot start and C1 dot start. Then main thread having the same statement, no problem, threads priorities of time. Then here okay, printing and setting the values, no problem. Can you predict the output in this scenario? Any prediction? Default priorities are set as 5. Then method has been called A1, B1, C1. So all child threads A1, B1 and C1 are allowed taking the same priority. That stage we are trying to call a run method. Then after setting the priority, because we know that the statements of main are executed in the sequential order. So assuming that right the child thread execution has been started, right, then the next statement to be executed in the main is right anyhow the flow of order is seen. A1's priority is set as 5, then B1's priority is set as 5, sorry, A1's priority is set as 8, B1's priority is set as 5, C1's priority is 2. After that, the 3 more statements are executed in the sequential order. There is no doubt in that. Then println write priorities of the child threads, calling run methods. Statements are executed in the sequential order. So once it reaches here, A1 dot start, B1 dot start, and C1 dot start. This stage, we are setting the new priorities of the child threads, and we try to call the start method. So the question is here no problem. Since all of these 3 child threads are taking the same default priority. In some random order, the child thread may try to complete their task. But after setting here, what is the purpose of the set priority? To set a priority to the corresponding thread. The logic is the thread with maximum priority will get to the CPU first because its priority is high. The priority with a minimum value, the corresponding thread may get the low chance to get the CPU. Or in other words, we can say that the maximum priority thread can use the CPU more time. The minimum priority thread, right, may have the chance, may have the less chance to use the CPU. So in the theoretical scenario, right, we are trying to call the methods A1 dot start, B1 dot start, C1 dot start. Of course, there are equal number of executable statements in all these child threads. Assuming that here 0 to 9, right? So 10 times, right? That statement gets printed. Here also write 100 to 1000 with an increment of 100. So almost right as say 10 times. Here also 1000 to 10,000 with an increment of 1000. So 10 times the message is going to be printed in each runs method. Here can you predict any order? The core part is here. After setting the priority, yeah, here we set the priority. After setting the priority, we are calling A1 dot start, B1 dot start, C1 dot start. Any guess how it will be? No idea. I can't predict anything from this scenario. Setting the priorities for the child threads.
More part of the new part will be executed for more instructions will be executed, sir.
Not clear. Please tell me.
I think the more part of more number of instructions of high priority that will be executed, sir, than compared with the low.
So you are saying that the higher priority thread will get the CPU first. Am I right? So in that case,
Yes,
A1's
sir.
priority, yeah, okay, A1's priority set as 5. So you are expecting that the statement runs method, right? A1's run is executed first, then B1's run, and C1's run. Because the priorities are in the descending order, so A1 is taking first, B1 is taking second, and C1 is taking the next. First, let us check this result, and then we modify the priority. Okay, here calling run method using A1, B1, C1. A1 thread priority rate 8, then B1's thread priority 5 somewhere, C1's thread priority is set to 2. After that, we are calling which one? The run method of A1, B1 and C1. So have a look into the right this line. Calling run methods using A1, B1, C1. Second time. This is the first time. Second time here calling run method using A1, B1, C1. You can see right the scrambled order C3000, B300, B400, B500, C4000, then A2, C5000, B600 something. Then exception in main thread java.lang. What happened? That line has not been commented out. A1 dot set priority of 21 commented out. What is error message? Runtime error. Illegal thread state exception. Thread priority main thread priority Java 56. Which line number error is reported? Thread dot priority main thread priority Java 56 inside runs method of class A3. Illegal thread state exception. Okay, somewhere the thread state is said to be an illegal one, right? That runtime error is reported. We check the runtime error later. So as of now, right, after setting this priority 852, this doesn't mean the child thread A1 is going to be executed first, then B1 second, and C1 third, right? So the thread priority, right, will not determine the order. For example, let us set C1 to 10, B1 is 5, and let A1 to 1. In this case, let us run and check the
Sir,
results. Yes.
then what is the use of setting priority, sir?
What is the?
What is the use of setting priority?
Yeah, for that purpose, right, I am explaining, right, first, right, the effect of setting priorities. Then I tell you the solution.
Okay, sir.
So in this, yeah, in this case also, right, A1 dot set priority 1, B1 dot set priority 5, C1 dot set priority 10. Even the child thread object C1 has been set a higher priority, right? You can see some lines are C's, say 1000, 2000, 3000. Then in between here, right, child thread A entered. After C is 4000, the child. So you can see this scrambled output. This doesn't mean the thread, right, with a higher priority can get the CPU first or can use the CPU the maximum amount of time, right? Only thing is
So why A1 dot set priority of 21 throws error?
why A1 dot,
Set priority of 21 illegal argument exception.
because the in Java's thread modeling, the thread priority can assume the integers in between 1 and 10. So outside of 1 and 10, the set priority method will not assume any value. So that's the illegal argument exception is raised.
Okay.
Now the answer to your question is, right, what is the purpose of set priority, right? Good question. The purpose of set priority, right, which is useful to set a priority to a thread so that the thread scheduler schedules which is the current activity to be processed by the CPU. Other than the context switch, there is also a thread scheduler which schedules the corresponding thread to be executed by the processor. So in that case, there are several factors which are affecting the priority of a thread, right? For higher priority thread, theoretically we can say the higher priority thread will get the CPU first, or higher priority thread may use the CPU more amount of time. This is only a theoretical inference. But in practical situations, right, you need to check what kind of multitasking capabilities are defined in your machine. Understand? What kind of multitasking capabilities, right? So it depends upon the type of multitasking as supported by your machine. And it depends upon the Java's runtime environment. So based on the thread scheduler, that may transfer the control to from lower priority to the higher priority thread. In some cases, for example, assuming that the lower priority thread is utilizing the CPU, assuming that the higher priority thread is in the sleeping state. Suppose the higher priority thread is sleeping for some 5000 milliseconds. Assuming lower priority thread is using the CPU, then that stage, right, automatically control is relinquished, right? A lower priority thread relinquishes its control when the higher priority thread joins. So that stage, the thread scheduler may release its control to some higher priority thread. But in the practical situations, right, we cannot predict. The higher priority thread will always be executed, right? That is only decided by the thread scheduler based on the multi-threaded activities and what kind of multi-threaded activities you are defined, right, inside the corresponding run method, and the type of multitasking capabilities defined with respect to the operating system. So the results may be varying. That is the only solution to your question. Understand?
Sir, if we keep sleep in between, excuse me, sir.
Pardon?
Sir, if we keep the sleep function between the set priority, the A1 dot set priority of one next line, if we keep the sleep function, will the A1 will be completely executed, then only the B1 will execute, or how, sir?
No, that is not possible. There is no relationship from sleep to complete execution of A1. In that stage, right, you try to call the corresponding join method. So if you call a join method, what will happen? Main thread will be in the waiting state to complete the execution of child thread A1. So sleep and the statements, right, will not have any relationship to the complete execution of one child thread to the next one.
Okay, sir.
We have to use the join method. I tried write several examples. Even you can ask right here. Each run method is taking only some, for example, 10 lines of code. Right? Each one is executing 10 lines of code. In case even if you try to execute, for example, here 500 lines of code, here some 200 lines of code, here 10 lines of code, and setting the higher priority thread, right? Theoretically, right, we can assuming that this way higher priority thread will get the CPU first. But in the practical situations, there are several factors affecting, right? How the thread scheduler is scheduling the priority of the threads, right? That is determined based on several factors. For example, what kind of multi-threaded activities and the type of multitasking capabilities, right? And the type of Java's runtime environment. Based on those factors, the thread priorities will affect to complete the child thread's execution. So more about child thread priorities or in general thread priorities, please refer to the complete reference book, right? There is a topic on thread priorities. So please go through that. And if you have any other queries, right, you can ask me. So with this, right, we are completing the multi-threading concept, and the next one, Java's IO package, then string buffer and string builder classes. I have already posted the recorded videos for these topics. Java's IO package, then Java string class, the various methods available in string class, string buffer class, and the string builder classes. So you please go through those recorded videos, right? And if you have any queries in that, you can ask. So shall we move on to the next topic, Java's utility package, collections framework? Or if you have any queries, right, you can ask. Okay, I move on to this one, utility package, Java's utility package. In this session, let us focus on the utility package exploration. What are there actually in the utility package? Java's utility package is defined in java.util.store package. So you need to import the package explicitly. Import java.util.star. As the term util which indicates that the facilities are already there. We can utilize some of the predefined facilities using the utility package. The utility package comes up with different collections, right? Util part 1, part 2 like that. We can find it in the complete reference book. Because the classes are separated into some part 1 classes and part 2 classes based on some collections. In utility package, one important topic is collections framework. The collections framework in the sense that some kind of objects or sequences are collectively put together as a framework. That's what this is to be a collections framework. For example, we can say the collections of strings, collections of integers, collections of some data, collections of some other real world information. Those things are organized and you put it in the sequential manner. That's what the term, right? Collections framework is defined. As a term, collections framework collects or groups the different classes and interfaces into a single one. So Java's collections framework comprises of different set of interfaces and classes. There are so many interfaces are defined, predefined in the collections framework. Likewise, the utility package util.star includes several classes which are used for performing some specific operations. As a term util, we can utilize the predefined facilities. Predefined facilities are defined in some ordered manner or unordered manner or sorted or unsorted manner, right? So all of these facilities are there. Some of the interfaces defined in the collections framework are collection. Collection is an interface. List, set, sorted set. These are grouping some kind of objects, information. The information can be the repetitive information. That means we can have the duplicate information, duplicate objects, or some of the interfaces will not allow the duplicate objects. Likewise, classes, I can have the ordered sequence of information or unordered sequence of information, which may be a sorted one or it may be an unsorted one. So different facilities are completely defined in different interfaces and in classes. The most important classes that we need to discuss are array list. Array list, right? There is no space in between OI and TF, right? A single word, array list. Likewise, hash shed, tree shed. These are the important classes that we need to discuss. Then, what is an iterator? We are processing in terms of objects, or we are processing in terms of some data, information, organized data, unorganized data, or sorted data, unsorted data. The data may be a duplicate one, or which may not be a duplicate one. So, however, to process or to traverse these data, what we are doing is we need some facility called iterator facility. Iterator, right, simply iterates over the collection, which is the first object in it, and which is the second object, which is the next object, and what is the last object. So collectively, we can traverse through the collection objects with the help of iterator. And there is a concept called map. Map like a key value pair, like hashing. For each key, a value can be assigned, right? So, which may be a function mapping, f of x is equal to y, like that. Maps concepts are defined in the collections framework. And a comparator, right, which is going to compare something, right, objects. So, these facilities are available in the collections framework. First, let us explore the interfaces and the classes, then iterator, maps, and comparators. This is the order. Why do we need a collections framework? In JDK 9, new utility A classes are defined. In JDK 9, right, starting from JDK 9, Java's utility package, java.util, is completely a part of the module java.base. For example, here you can find, okay, after the slide explanation, I show you. The collections framework, which results in the high performance because the thing is already defined. For example, if you like to implement the queue operations, stack and the queue operations, you need to write the code. Explicitly, you need to write the code. But the operations say push, pop, right, insertion, deletion, counting the number of elements, these are already defined as a framework as in a part of interface or class. Complete a predefined implementation has been done and framed as a framework in the part of utility package. So high performance, you can easily extract the code, access the code, and you can achieve the high performance. Different types of collections are going to be allowed to work in the similar manner. So higher degree of interoperability is achieved because the things are defined in such a way that storing the information, organizing the information in the sorted order or unsorted order, or storing the information, right, with the duplicate values or without duplicate values in such a way that the objects are going to be organized. So interoperability achieves the higher degree of interoperability is achieved when working with collections package, right, classes and the interfaces. Extending and or adapting a collection had to be easy. Already predefined collections are there, so we can extend those collections to suit our requirements. So extending the collections, right, performing inheritance, that will be the easier task. Have a look into this one. These are the predefined classes defined in the collections framework. That means java.util.star package. That is java.util package defines these classes. Say abstract collection, abstract list, arrays, hash table, random, scanner, stack, right? These are the classes defined in the collections framework. Some more classes, say calendar, date, dictionary, tree set, tree map, timer, string tokenizer. With respect to the interfaces, you can find some of the interfaces, say collection. Collections is the class, right? Have a look into that one. Collections is the class, right? You can find it here, collections. But collection is an interface defined in utility package. Likewise, comparator, enumeration, iterator, list map, set, sorted set, split rate are random access queue. The stack is a class defined in java.util package, but the queue has been defined as an interface. So you can find out the methods of queue are already predefined in this interface. Whenever you want to implement the queue interface, you can define your own activities inside it. So the major interfaces are, for example, collection. Collection interface collects several objects, which makes the group of several objects. This is actually defined at the top of a collections hierarchy. Then deck queue, right? Deck double-ended queue. A double-ended queue means, right, in both sides we can perform a queue-based operations. List, a list which allows the duplicate values, right? Likewise, queue set, a set will not allow the duplicate values. Then the set can randomly, right, insert the elements. Then if you want to make the sorted order, we have a facility called sorted set interface, which extends the set interface to sort the given elements. Mostly the collection interfaces Some of the methods in the collection interfaces are optional, which means that you can implement your own method in the corresponding implementation. Some of the methods are modifiable and some of the collection methods are unmodifiable. You cannot modify the objects and you cannot modify the elements, right? That is unmodifiable. You can modify the elements. For example, January, February, March. In between January and February, you can try to insert some more object. That is possible in case of a modifiable. In case of unmodifiable collections, you cannot change anything. When you try to perform some modifications in unmodifiable collections, this kind of exception will be thrown. Unsupported operation exception is thrown. All of the built-in collections are a modifiable one. For that rate, we have different facilities in terms of classes and interfaces to organize something in the ordered and unordered manner and the sorted and unsorted manner. The general form of collection interface is right this one, interface collection. After that, right, you can see in bracket, this one bracket E, then capital E, then closing bracket. This means that this is like class template. So we have studied templates and exception handling template topic in C++ language. Right? So collection is the class can be operating on the different type of objects, right? Integer collection, a floating point objects, right? A floating point collection, character objects, character collection. So for that purpose, the class, right, the interface collection has been termed as the generic class. The generic class means that can be used by any type of objects. The interface collection extends the IEEE interface. Using the IEEE interface, you can easily traverse the elements. For example, using the for each style of for loop, you can easily traverse the elements or traverse the objects inside the collection interface. The collection interface results in some of the runtime errors, unsupported operation exception. In case if the collection cannot be modified, at state, this exception is thrown. Class cost exception. When you try to attempt write the cost in conversion from one class into another class with respect to collection object, when the operation is not supported, incompatible, this exception is raised. Null pointer exception in cases when you want to store the null values, right, and null objects as the elements. This results in null pointer exception. Elements cannot be null. Illegal argument exception. When invalid argument is passed to a method, illegal argument exception. Then illegal state exception with respect to multi-threading, or when you try to add an element to a fixed length collection. Collection is a fixed length one. So trying to add some element that results in illegal state exception. Another one is the list interface. The list interface extends the collection interface because the collection, which is a generic interface, the generic interface has been extended in some other interfaces. You know that interfaces can be extended. One interface can extend the features into another interface. Likewise, the basic collection, generic collection interface has been extended in the list interface. Like strings, the objects are all taking from the 0th index. So 0 based index elements can be inserted or accessed or deleted. Starting index of the list interface elements are 0. List may contain duplicate elements, right? You can introduce some repeated elements or duplicate values. The general form of a list interface is also defined like a generic class. For example, integer type, character type, floating point type. The class or the interface list has been made as a generic one. Like a collection interface here, some of the exceptions are unsupported operation exception, class cast exception, index out of bounds exception, similar to array index. Here, the corresponding object index, invalid index is given. Null pointer exception, illegal argument exception. These are the runtime errors reported using list interface. Starting from JDK 9, the list interface includes a factory method called op, right? So using this op, you can have some overloaded versions. If you want to if you want make no changes, right, unmodifications, that stage, right, you can introduce these kind of list methods. Later we will explore these methods with respect to the classes, where the classes are implementing the specific interface. For all these overloaded versions, right, with 0 argument, 1 argument, 2 argument, etc., 12 arguments, 11 arguments, right? So totally 12 overloads are there, 0 to 11. You can also specify var parameter, right, arbitrary number of elements. Null elements are not allowed in the list. For all cases, list implementation is unspecified. That means you can use the list implementation with respect to the integer 1, character 1, floating point 1, double 1. Another one is a set interface. Compared to list allows duplicate elements, where set does not allow the duplicate elements. So when you add an element right into the set, assuming that the element has already been added, that results in a false method. Add returns false, right? In case if you add duplicate elements to the set. This defines as two exceptions and no additional methods of its own, because set interface extends the collection interface. All of the collection methods are also defined in the set interface. The set interface defines the two exceptions with this general form, skeleton interface set key. The set can be applied for different objects. Here also, some overloaded versions of the factory method of is available. Some other methods are there, like a static copy of method, in case if you want to copy the elements from some region, from one set to another one. Like list, null elements are not allowed. The returned set is an unmodifiable one. You cannot modify the returned set. Another one is sorted set. The normal set interface will store elements in an order, but you cannot sort the elements. In case if you want to sort the elements, you need to use this sorted set interface. Interface sorted set. E specifies the generic class for which kind of objects you want to sort the set. Here also you can have some kind of errors, runtime errors. No such element exception. Processing with the sorted set when the element is not available in the invoking set. No such element exception, runtime error is thrown. Then class cast exception, null pointer exception, illegal argument exception are similar to the previous runtime errors. To explore this utility package, we need to go through the online help. For example, here, go to its base module, because in the base module, the utility package is defined. Module base java.base and find the util package here, java.util. Different utility operations, say array operations, stack, queue operations, bit set, random number generation operations, dictionary, set, sorted, set, list, array list, hash set, tree set. These kind of utilities are completely defined in this utility package. You can find package java.util. These are the different interfaces. Just now we have seen collection is an interface. Likewise, comparator, take enumeration, iterator, list iterator, map entry, then a queue, set, sorted map, split radar. These are some of the interfaces defined in this package. Coming to classes, you can find like a collections. Collection is the interface. Collections is the class. Then date, dictionary, event object, hash it, hash map, linked list, objects, priority queue, then random, and you can find a class stack. You can easily write the implementations of stack using the built-in class stack. String tokenizer, tokenizing the string, splitting the string into some substring. Then timer, time zone, tree map, tree shed, vector. These are some of the classes defined in the java.util page. If you want to go through a particular class, for example, collections, you can find the skeleton of collections class, public class collections extends the superclass object. You can find the generic methods of this collections class. So as of now, right, what we have to do means, you please go through the complete exploration of this java.base module, in which we try to find the utility package here, java.util, and please go through the different classes and interfaces available. And here, go through the interfaces, right, which are the part of our syllabus, as we have discussed. One interface is collection interface, because this is a generic interface which is defined at the top level hierarchy, and assuming, right, the collection interface having some methods, right? These are methods. If you want to add an object, because completely these are object processing, adding object, deleting object, modifying object, right? And finding the number of elements in it and processing some operations on the objects. So to add an element to add all elements, and clearing the framework, and checking if the object contains this object contains all equal, and checking if the object is or the collection is empty. Iterator, which is used to iterate over the collection size, completing to conversion to two array, right? These are some of the methods defined in the collection interface. Any class that implements the collection interface must redefine all of its methods. Likewise, list interface. List allows duplicate elements. The interface list is defined like this. Interface list extends collection. Basic interface, the collection, that facilities are extended in this interface list. Here I go through these methods, right? Mostly the same operations, right? Addition, deletion, modification, right? The operations, so checking the size and iterating over the objects. Add, clear, contains, equals, get hash code, checking the object list is empty, iterator, list iterator, and these are some of the unmodifiable list operations. Overloaded versions of off method, removing an object, remove all, setting the element at a fixed location, number of elements in the list size. Likewise, go through this one, and then set will not allow the duplicate elements. Then a sort out set. So go through these interface methods. The next class we explore the various classes available in utility package, and we will explore the classes in an order, right, based on your syllabus. I share the PPT and the today's session multi-threading thread priorities documents. Having any queries? Set priority, right, will not change any effect theoretically, right? So that it depends upon several factors. Please go through the complete reference book and try to run several programs. So practically, right, we will not experience the effect of having a set priority method, because the thread scheduler determines which is the next thread to be executed based on the priority that cannot be theoretically inferred.